Yeah, sure, buttocks. Tyson.
Yo, Banlobi, hello! My microphone was
Ah,
switched off
that's
this entire time. I've been chatting for 2 minutes with a muted microphone. Hello, everybody. My name is Bob O'Connor. I'm here with Ben Moby. This is Q1 F1 2021. Ben Moby, thank you for joining us. How are you feeling for today's race?
I'm feeling very excited to be live.
Yes, we are live. The viewers are trickling in. Kalani Kalani, as they say in South Africa here. This is Selby, who is the first to go out onto the track. 18 minutes to qualify. Now, people are clocking in times inching closer to the 1 minute and 4 seconds mark. Yo, Bankobi, what do you think will be good enough to take pole position here today?
I think the early 1.3s should do the trick
Yeah,
because during time trials we get constant sightseeing road without braking. So this track is really uh, easy. So it should be fairly like close to the time trials. They should be able to mimic what they did during the time trials
yeah.
races. So we should be seeing the 103, and I think maybe Tyson can push a 102.
Maybe that. Ooh, 102. That would be absolutely insane. You mentioned that this track is. Well, I get the sense that this is a kinder track compared to many others. What is it that makes this favorable for drivers? What is it about this track particularly?
It's short, and the only thing that you have to rely on is muscle memory. When
Yeah,
you need to turn, when you need to accelerate, and we're going to see what they call the DRS train because everyone is quick here.
yeah.
So I think the slowest person, I think, is Manda, if I'm not mistaken, in tier one. So the
Yeah.
difference between the fastest guy is just under 2 seconds. So you can imagine the train that we are about to see.
As lap is inching toward the 1 minute mark. Can he get closer to that 103 or 104? Ooh, it's going to be a 105.573. Selby was the first to go out. So we'll see how that goes. Welcome, Kid K saying hello. Welcome, Babsy. Welcome, Miss Bono. We see you all joining us here. We cannot wait to see how these drivers go. Damnesia sets a 104.8. And Banobi, according to you, you're gonna look closer towards the people who can break even the 104 barrier. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I'll definitely do that. But we'll see how everything goes. But everyone is just anxious. I had a chat with Zotila earlier on. He
Yep.
was telling me how everyone is quick, but he didn't set like the time trial. So I
Yeah.
think he's packing some heat that he doesn't want to expose.
Yeah.
So we'll see if he's going to do that now.
Yeah. Want to get a sense of how these runners are coming along as we see the 86er Titus has already set a 104.5. That answers Damnesia's 104.8 as we ride on board here with the 86er. Currently, well, he's following the toe of it looks like well, it might be an Alpha Taro, an Alpine, but how fast will the 86er go? The time is starting to trickle in. Most of them are in a 105s at the moment. The 86er is in that pack 105.5. He is just good enough for P8 as things currently stand. D-Wax looks to be getting out of the way for their fellow drivers here. We are on board with Mello the Mellow, who had really, really rotten luck in Spain. Van Kobe crashing out. He looked set for a really, really great result, and he'll be looking to take advantage here today.
No, definitely. So Melo recently got a will, I think in December. So
Yep.
he's trying to get his motor back. Hence, he's been spinning out and stuff. But we can see that the pace is back. So now it's just a matter of him trying to be more consistent with
Yeah.
his races. So
Yeah.
I definitely think that this is one of his tracks. So we are going to see like some fire from him. And he also didn't set a time trial. The last time he did a time on time trial was, I think, last year, September. So you can
Yep.
imagine all the months that he's been um, going offline because that's what people are now doing so that they don't give away their setup. So if you give people a bit of context around time trial, right?
Yes.
Time trial is a place where you get to know the tracks better, get the right setup. So there are people all over the world that are setting times, so you can basically steal their setups and use it
Yep.
as your own,
Yep.
tweak it to your own advantage. So now people are now training offline so that you don't have the likes of your competitors taking your own setup and being quicker than um, you. So people are now working offline, so we don't have a great visibility on who's going to be faster on this track.
So people are playing, holding their cards very close to their chests up until the last second where they can unleash their true pace during qualifying, basically. You mentioned earlier that Mello is one of the drivers that has transitioned from the controller to the wheel. In your understanding, what changes as a driver once you make that transition to a wheel in terms of how the car handles and how that affects your speed on track?
Okay, so with the wheel, you're going to be twitching a lot less because you won't be pressing the analog. So it's going to be um, a fairly natural movement because you do drive every day. So
Yep.
when you do jump on like the wheel, it's going to be much easier and people will tend to be more comfortable. The
Yep.
only person that has found it difficult with the transition from a controller to a wheel is Mandla. I don't know why, but he's actually one to look out for
Yeah.
because he's starting to get his form right. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. But yeah, the transition from a controller to a wheel is really good because I think you gain like 2 seconds. I was watching one of the esports guys actually going back to the controller, and he was 3 seconds slower compared to
Three
his time on the wheel.
seconds. Oh, that is insane.
It's
That
slow.
is
It
absolutely
is.
insane. Oh my word. So we were on board with Zotal, who is actually on their in lap there. It looks like the 86er is still is not quite on a hot lap as yet. We want to find someone who is. Mfundo set a fastest time. Well, his fastest time so far has been 105.069. But just to give you a look at our top 10 as things stand, Van Gobi, could you take us through that? And then I'll take us through the bottom 10.
Sorry, can you please do that because I'm having some issues on my side?
No worries. We have Titus currently in provisional pole on 10. Titus is on 104.521. Sikle Langa has just laid down the gauntlet himself, 104.526. So the margins are fine there between P1 and P2. S. Buddha is currently P3. And then we have Damnesia, Mello, Zotile, Tindo. Well, that kind of just switched a little bit, I think. Zotal Tindo, the 86er, and Spice Zozo. Those are currently the drivers in the top 10 positions. Nicholas in the other Mercedes is P11. Then we have Romeo in the Williams, and then Bongs, Selby, D-Wax, Manray, Inati, Lunds, and Loveness. Now, those bottom three drivers I've just mentioned have yet to set times, so we'll be looking to see how they fare. Inati has had rotten luck, unfortunately, over the past couple of races, not being able to finish after being in really, really good positions as they come back into the pits here. So they are still looking to set a decent time, they'll be hoping. Let's ride with Lungs in the Red Bull. Lungs is currently fourth in the Drivers' Championship as they go through Sector 2. The second sector here. So Lungs and Zotal in the Red Bulls have demonstrated fantastic teamwork over the past couple of weeks. And in the previous race in Spain on Tuesday, we saw similarly fantastic, incredible collaboration and teamwork between Titus and Tindo. Titus holding off the challenger to Tindo's possible podium place there, and we had a double podium for the McLarens there. Let's see how Lunds fares. He is now looking to inch as further up the grid as he can, but he could only do a 105.4 that leaves him P14. That's surprising, considering Lunz's pace so far, but Nobby?
Yeah, but Talks, let me tell you something, right? So
Yeah.
this track, it may seem like an odd comparison. So this track is really similar to Monaco, right? So the track position is really important here because everyone is quick. So you have to qualify first so that you can maintain the pace because there isn't much room for overtaking here
Yep.
for the faster guys because everyone's just fast here. And yeah, so I'm really keen to see what Titus is going to pull because I think 104 is really slow for him.
Mm-hmm.
But again, weather conditions are really important here. As I suspected, I think they will be able to mimic what they did during time trial, but we'll see. We'll see.
Ben Kobe, you are one of the protagonists in the Tier 2 Championship race. I know you're probably not looking to give away too many trade secrets, but I'd love to know what the possible thinking would be in terms of setting up the car here. What do you prioritize in terms of how you set up your car to get the best possible lap here?
Okay, so even though this is like a fast track with higher wings, I think from 7 for the front wing, and then the rear wing should be around 8. Yeah,
Yeah.
because in as much as you want to be fast, you need to really have like a stable car.
Yeah.
You can't be spinning out after 5 laps of leading the race. So
Yeah.
you just need to find like the right balance. So
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
suspension is really going to be important and the tires. So I think the game here would be around tires. It's either they're going to max out all the pressures or just work around the suspension because you don't want to be hitting the curbs and then spinning out.
Yeah.
So I think they need to play around the suspension and the tires and stay away from the wings because once you play with the wings, people are going to lose their cars during the fast corners.
Yeah. So not too much downforce to take advantage of, how speedy this track is. But as we watch, Nicholas looks like Nicholas is abandoning. Nicholas has lost the wing, it seems. So they'll be coming straight back. So it's a balance of course, taking advantage of how quick this track is, while not sacrificing the balance that you need through those corners, and of course, trying not to spin at some of the points where the curbs could be harsh on you. Streezy and Kaboza and Kid K, we see the conversations happening about how best to set up your car and how easy or not it is to overtake on this track. And thank you all to all of you for joining us here. This is the 10th race of the Tier 1 season here on Breakaway F1. I cannot wait. We have got probably less than 5 minutes to go, or around about 5 minutes until we get to see this race go underway. We're on board here with Spy Zozo, looking to better their time as they go through that final corner. Will they? Oh, gone just about slightly slower than the previous attempt, so Spy Zozo stays in P10 as things stand. 3 of the top runners so far are out, trying to better their time. We're here with Esbuda, who slows down. Might be having a little bit of an issue there. But let's see how Mfundo does. Mfundo is currently in Sector 2 as they take that slowish corner. Kid K says the DRS zone is going to be tricky. Pull away or be caught. Oof, I can't wait to see those battles take place in the DRS zone here. We're on board with Mfundo, who takes this left-hander, trying to make sure that he goes as nice and smooth as possible as he punches it towards the final sector here, or the final turns of this track. Mfundo, their best times, whoa! They have crashed and they are out of this session. Went too hard, Ben Kobe.
Sure.
Totaled the car there in the final. Yeah.
But I think his time is good, so yes, it's sad that he just crashed out, but I think he's had a really good time.
Yeah.
Because the difference between him and Tyson, is really non-existent. So I think he put a really good time. Plus, it's enough time for him to go make some tea and come down so that we can have like a great race.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hopefully
and
they get. Yes.
and if we can have a look at the comments, I see Topoz is saying that he's going to be running a 1-1 wings and then pulling a 102. So it's important to screenshot that message and see if he'll be able to live up to
And
that.
hold them accountable as soon as we get to the race. We're on board here with Esbuda, currently P4 as things stand. Will they be able to improve on their 104.5? Esbuda is punching it, and Esbuda goes fastest! Esbuda pulls a 104.430. That was a hot lap from Esbuda. There is the gauntlet. 104.4, can it be
Tyson is
better?
coming.
Oh,
Tyson.
Titus! Look at that. Titus says, anything you can do as Buddha, I can do better. 104.2 says Titus as he cools down those tires after scorching them for that attempt. Seaflay is also among the top runners as things stand. Currently P3. 104.5 is Seaflay's best time. As soon as Seaflay begins their hot lap, we'll go on board and see how they do. Zotile is currently slightly slower through that first sector, 0.034 seconds slower. So Zotile will be looking to really take advantage and hopefully, well, do best as far as that is concerned. Let's take a closer look. Van Kobe from Zotile's perspective. Well, here is Zotile now in Sector 2, really okay, goes easy a little bit on the throttle there. Of course, those curves can be dangerous depending on how you set your car up. Zotile is punching it as he looks towards those final turns, and of course that last straight. Will Zotile improve on P6 on 104.6? The time, oh no, it goes just under 2/10 slow. Oh, yes. Well, he goes to P2, just 2/10 slower than Titus. That's a good time by Zotile there.
Yeah, it is a good time, and it's also important to note that he was just DNF'd. He retired from the session, I think.
DWAX.
DNF, we were not paying attention to him.
Yes. So we've lost.
So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think now Titus is just sitting back, hoping that no one touches the time that he just set, but it's all gone now.
Yeah. It is almost over, pretty much. Seaflay on their final hot lap here, hoping to improve on their time as things stand. Let's have a look. Van Kobe, your view on how Seaflay is taking this?
I think he just invalidated, hey? Because I'm seeing red on my side.
Yeah,
Can you please confirm that?
Yes, Seaflay.
Or was he just slower?
Was slightly slower here. Yeah, he's down 2/10, but that could be down 2/10 on Titus as things stand. So we'll just keep a close eye here as Seaflay comes into the final turn. Ooh, looks like it might have been validated there at that last turn.
But he does improve his time. That's the first
104, yes. So as things currently stand, Van Kobe, take us through our top 10 drivers as Loveness racks up a 5-place grid penalty for a collision with Tindo, unfortunately. Van Kobe, take us through our top 10, and I will take us through the bottom, the rest of the grid, rather.
Okay, so Bold Sitter is my teammate. Titus with a 104. Melo, like we suggested, that he is going to do well here with a 104. And then Zotile, Sbuda, the 86er, and surprisingly CK is on 6th.
Yep.
And we have Amnesia and Fundo who DNF'd, unfortunately. I thought he was going to maintain his third spot, but that was not meant to be. And then we have Inati, and we are about to go into the race. True, it's really tricky. I think CJ was put off by the food poisoning that he had because this is not the CJ that
Unfortunately.
we know. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, Inati, we've mentioned they've had horrible luck over the past couple of races. They're in the top 10, as you mentioned, as things stand. And then we have Tindo, Nick, Lungs, and Loveness, of course, was knocked down 5 positions on the grid as things currently stand. So there is a lot that we can look forward to in this race. Going through the rest of the grid there, we have Selby P15, and then Bongs, Romeo, Man Ray, and D-Wax. I absolutely
Mm.
cannot wait for this to start. Uh,
So
pre-
Lungs is outside the top 10, right? So I think he's going to choose the mediums, and his strategy always works. So for mediums and then softs. So I think he's going to try to gain some time while the other guys pit and then try to undercut them. So we'll see how that goes. He's really good when it comes to that strategy. I don't know how he does it, but he does. Oh no, it's going to rain.
Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Titus is known for being quite a great wet weather driver. So this, of course, adds a sprinkle of drama into what was already a tantalizing race. With the rain now, how does that change your thinking as a driver in terms? I suppose it depends on when the weather would clear up, right, Benlobi?
Mm. So now it really becomes like Monaco. Track position is really important.
Yep.
So I foresee the same top five from qualifier to finish. So it's really going to be interesting. Track position is really important, and I suspect that if it does rain throughout, Titus may just use like one set of tires. So it's going to
Yeah.
be interesting to see.
Here
We
we
are about to
are.
go.
This is the only time that South Africans look forward to lights going out, and they are out. We have Titus in the lead from, Zotile, and Mello drops a place. Mello's hoping to at least stay in the top 3, and Titus keeps that lead into that first corner. Let us see exactly how things pan out. Titus will look to keep things nice and clean. Bangobi, as we see Mello dropping to P4 already.
It's true. I don't know what's going on. Phew,
Yeah, super,
so
super
disappointing.
tough
He
start.
lost 2 places in the matter of one lap.
Yeah, in less than half a lap, Mello has dropped to P4, but Zotile is holding that second spot, currently 6 tenths down on our leader Titus, as we take a closer look there at how exactly things have changed as far as the positions here on the grid. Rain is not good for any driver, says Kid K. Whew. Well, it's sometimes good for us, the viewers. We see Titus is currently leading. It's almost a second. Look at the way that Titus is kind of building a second lead, and before the end of the first lap here, Zotal is keeping it nice and steady as Buddha gained a place on Mello, of course, who is now P4. We then have Josh, who's gained 2, the 86er, C-Clay, who's lost a place, Inati, Mfundo, and Selby. That is our current P10, as we see a battle between Mello and Josh, it seems. So Mello is really fighting here. But Moby, could it be a question of maybe keeping the setup for the dry qualifying and then things changing? Could that be the issue?
I think so. So we don't have visibility on the weather, right? Because I don't know what is wrong with Melo. I think his setup that he chose is not working well with the wet weather. Because with the setup, you can't change it during the rain,
Yep.
during the race, because the only thing that you can change is your downforce, which is like your front wing. So it's going to be tricky. Maybe on their side they can see that the weather is going to change,
Yep.
and maybe that's where he's going to capitalize. But now he lost 3 places.
He's lost
Phew.
a couple of places. The predicted pit strategy, according to, the statisticians, is around lap 18. But, of course, anything can happen here. The teams could have their own way of doing things here. Titus sets a 1:13.8 as the fastest lap, of course, of the race so far. We are on board with Inati, who was inching closer and closer to Seaclay a couple of seconds ago, but Seaclay is even closer to the 86er. So the 86er has just gone down a place there. Kid K was looking forward to some DRS drama, of course, with the rain now. That is going to be, it might we might see that a little later on if conditions improve. But as things stand, we have Titus leading from Zotile, and then on to Buddha, Damnesia, Josh in 4th, and then Mello, then the 86er and Seaclay, and Inati in 8th. In 9th place, and Fundo. 10th is Selby, and then Tindo, Titus's teammate, is all the way down in 11th. Lungs, of course, we spoke about how their race started. They are currently in P12, Van Goghie.
Oh yes, and he gained 1 place. Interesting to see how he's going to improve. So with Lungs, he's really good when it comes to the rain, because with his setup, all his setups are running like a lower differential. So that's really good for the wet weather, because he's not going to lose a lot of traction during the corners. So we're going to see how things go. And it's also important to note that Titus has been pulling a gap to Zotile, and was more than 2 seconds.
Yeah, let's get back to the leaders. 2.5 seconds. An incredible, controlled, calm, cool wet weather drive once again from Titus here, leading from Zotile. As he comes, of course, out of that a slow corner that Zotile is still navigating themselves. Loveness has been the biggest mover since the start of the race, gaining 7 places. Of course, Loveness had a 5-place grid penalty, so Loveness doing well to work their way up the grid. And Loveness, a little further down the grid, is really knocking on the door of Tindo. Is really looking to take advantage there. So we're trying to keep abreast of all of the battles taking place. A few places behind, Lungs is looking to take advantage, battling here against Romeo, of course, who is adjusting to the wheel setup, but has gained 2 places from the place where they qualified at. We already see some of the red lights flashing. Our drivers are really pushing that ERS under, difficult, tricky conditions here. So Van Novi, it's a balance of, trying to stay as fast as possible and trying to manage your battery for important battles later on in the race.
So it's also important to note that with ARS during the rain, is that your battery charges a lot faster because the car is slow. So
Yes.
they can use as much as they want. They're still going to have enough for the challenges later on in the game. So yeah, they can push it as much as they can. And it's also important to note that Cisse is closing in on Melo.
Yes.
Oh no. And he also lost the place to 86er.
Oh yes, it's not the smoothest of starts for Cisse, one of the championship contenders in Tier 1. To remind you, as things stand in the Drivers' Championship, Zotile currently leads with 152 points. Titus, our current race leader, is second in the Drivers' Championship with 140, followed fairly closely by Cisse on 130 points in the Ferrari. Lungs is on 63 points in P4 in the Drivers' Championship as things stand. We are taking a closer look here at Cisse, who was injured a little bit closer to Mello, but not quite getting there. Mello, having lost those places at the beginning, is holding their own with, keeping Cisse kind of at bay there. Let us go back to that battle between the front runners and see how it looks from Zotile's perspective. There goes Titus into the distance there. Absolutely great control, great drive so far from Titus. It's a long way to go, 30 whole laps to go, so it is not over. The drivers, of course, still have to navigate pit windows. Some will have to try to keep away from penalties, but Zotile is really not pushing too hard, really not trying to risk anything unnecessary at the curbs here as they try to keep Titus within their scope of view. Ooh, slightly loses a little bit there into the grass. The gap now 2.5 seconds to Titus.
And unfortunately, I don't have the intel to safety car. Vienna.
Oh, we see Damnesia coming into the pits here. Josh, want to see exactly what they will
What
opt for. It
happened?
is an early pit. It might have been an incident between Josh and perhaps Smuda. Those are the two drivers going into the pits. Looks like a tire
Oh no.
change. They didn't necessarily need anything as far as wings are concerned. But Smuda has a damaged wing, we see. So there must have been some sort of an incident there.
Mm.
Of course, it's still wet weather, so they stay on those intermediate tires. But they trickle all the way down. That's 11 places that changed from the start there when we look at Cebu. I just want to
Sure.
actually, yes, let's do that.
And this brings
Interval.
Zotiga back to the game.
It does. It does,
Yeah,
as we
because
see.
it's not a virtual safety car. Hmm.
Yeah, ideal
And I
scenario
don't
here.
have the intel.
Yep.
Hmm?
You
I
don't
was
know the
saying
intel?
that I don't have the intel to tell you whether Titus is on manual or automatic because apparently he went on manual to unleash a new pace. So
Yeah.
it would be interesting to find out after the race
Yeah. Yeah.
whether he's been driving on manual or
Yeah,
automatic.
he drove on manual and, of course, still got that podium place finish. The 86er, this is actually quite interesting. I want to see how many places they gained. Well, it's currently 2 places, but of course, yeah, they're doing fairly well here for the Williams, currently in P3, ahead of Mello. They'll be hoping to, well, keep this position. It's a long way to go, of course, until the end of the race here. We'll just see the penalties. Nick and Inati are the only two drivers, as things stand, who have racked up penalties. Let's go closer to Zotile. From time to time in the slower corners, he does inch closer and closer as the full safety car is out here. Of course, this plays into Zotile's hands if they can keep pretty close to Titus, and Titus doesn't get too good a start. Yes.
Yes, it does. But let's hope that Zotiga has learned what to do in order to catch up with Titus because he was pulling away just before the safety car. And yeah, we'll see. And I suspect that the weather is going to dry up soon, so we'll see who's going to be first to pull the trigger.
Yep, this is good news for pretty much anyone who was hoping to get as close as possible to the front. The cars will be backed up. If somehow Titus doesn't, hold their nerve, or there's a minor hiccup after, we go racing again, then that'll make things interesting. And yeah, I cannot, cannot wait to see how things pan out here. The safety car will go around one more time. Hopefully, this is the final lap. Tindo, of course, was a little further down, currently P8. We saw that masterclass in teamwork between Titus and Tindo in the previous race. Lungs will be looking to fight their way through the grid from P12 and a little closer to their teammate Zotile to be able to, well, get another taste of some amazing teamwork here. Romeo on the wheel, we spoke about them a little bit earlier, currently P11, just ahead of Lungs, and we have Nick P13, followed by Manray, S. Buddha, Spizozo, Bongs, and Inati and D-Wax are the drivers in P18 and 19 respectively. Now, Bongs is currently P17. We've been mentioning Bongs is currently the only driver yet to score points this season, so Bongs will be hoping to contribute to the Ferrari cause, as Seafly has done so far. So, yeah, good luck to Bongs there. We'll be looking to fight their way through that.
Yeah,
The safety car is in,
and
Bengali.
touching on that, Bounce hasn't scored like a point this season.
Yes.
I suspect maybe Sihle was sick because of that. I'm sure carrying a team for so long, it must be painful. But yeah, I'm hoping to see like a different result today. So from
Yeah.
17, I think it is possible for him to join the point scorers. Okay. So let's see how things go when we resume.
Let's see how things go as soon as we resume. Indeed, we will see the perspective from the cars chasing the leader as the safety car goes in, and it looks like Titus hits the throttle there. Titus is not going to give you any room to kind of second guess what he's going to do. Already building up a 1.4 second gap here on that straight Van Lobby as we see a move between Cicle passing Mello.
Oh no. Oh no. So Titus has started pulling, so Zotile must just keep tabs with him. And then the 86 is still close to Zotile. And yeah, we're going to see how it pans out. And Cicle has gained a place against Melo.
Cicle has gained a place against. Yes?
I thought that safety car was going to re-energize Melo. But yeah, let's see. Fifth is still a good place. Let's see how the race goes.
Yeah, it's still a long way to go. Anything can happen between now and lap 36. Yes, we're currently inching towards the end of lap 10 as Titus currently builds a gap 2.2 seconds long. But just one place behind Zotal is the 86er, who was less than a second behind Zotal. Red light flashing. The 86er looks like, their ERS has, they've been saving their ERS. So they might be able to take advantage here. Yes, the ERS is, that battery is being punched by the 86er, trying to inch as close as they can to Zotal. We see Romeo has got a 5-second time penalty. Safety car again.
Oh no. Man Ray has just DNF'd.
We have lost Man Ray in this race, another DNF. Titus, just as he keeps building a gap, they keep pulling him back in. Just as he tries to build a gap, nope, safety car, another incident, and it pulls Titus back in. So Man Ray, unfortunately, the first driver that we have lost in this race.
And to give you a bit of context around Mende's performance, he's a really quick driver, right? So he's from Tier 2. So when I started racing, I think in September, we were racing together. And as soon as I started gaining a lot of pace because of my traction off, he switched back to his traction, right? So his traction was full, in order for him to score points, knowing very well that I was going to DNF during the races. So he was doing that so that he can join Tier 1, but to his own detriment. So now he's struggling to drive his car with traction off to keep up with the Tier 1 guys. So it goes to show that he was not able to play the long game in the Tier 2 league, and now it's starting to reap benefits. So yeah, it's really crazy how someone that has had the game for more than maybe 3 years to struggle like this. But I'm sure he's gonna come back.
I just want to ask you a little something. Looks like we might have lost Inati here. As you can see, their car is currently ghosting. Composer pointed out in the comments here that Inati seems to have left the session. Unfortunate. Hopefully, Inati can sort out the network issues if that is the case and rejoin. Because it would be great to see them race and hopefully score some points. Tapiso says the track is going to dry up, hopefully. That would be incredible to see, Tapiso. Pankobi, I want to ask you, you mentioned traction off and traction on. What does that mean in terms of driving the cars, controlling the cars? What does that mean?
So, traction on is just like an electronic feature that a car has. So the car is able to dictate whether you losing control of the car, and it will apply the brakes and then disengage the engine. So with F1 2021, we have 3 options. We have traction full, medium, and then totally off. So medium, it does assist you there and there, but you tend to lose the car if you're not able to control it. But if you use similar to tire sets, right? So traction full would be the hards, medium traction would be the mediums, and then softs would be traction off, because that releases a lot of pace. So if you have like an electronic which is stopping you from spinning out, you do tend to become slower. So yeah, that's basically what traction is when you're racing in F1.
And with the kind of pace that we see here regularly in T1, would it be, are most of the drivers driving without that traction assistance, to gain that pace advantage?
Yeah, so most of the guys are driving without traction. But it's also important to note that world drivers tend to drive with medium traction. So with CJ, he's driving without brake assist, I think. And
Yep.
then he's driving with medium traction. So he's quick, apparently. So you
Yeah.
can imagine once he switches off that traction completely, what he's going to do. So he's going to become faster, but he's going to struggle just a bit, getting to know the car a lot better with the traction off. But after then, he's going to be faster. So I think he should go off medium traction
Yep.
and have it completely off, and then be able to challenge Titus and Sotiba.
That would be incredible to see. Bangobi, thank you for the insights, says Andal Twala in the comments. Well, if you have just joined us, or if, you've been here, welcome and thank you for joining us here. This is the Tier 1 race of the Breakaway F1 League. Yes, Tier 1 meaning these are the best of our best drivers, and the drivers from the other tiers are trying to get into this very tier. Titus is trying to get a little temperature into those tires as he punches it once again at the same corner that he did the last time the safety car came in, looking to fill that gap initially. Zotile, we want to have something to say about that. It's currently 9/10 between Titus and Zotile, as we see here. Already a second as Zotile looks to keep close to the race leader Titus here. Titus is, of course, known for his wet weather driving abilities. Slightly behind him is Zotile, who is chased very, very closely by the 86er, who looks to keep it very, very tight on Zotile here, making sure that he gets a good exit. Zotile is not as far from the 86er as Titus is, of course, from that second place driver. Ciclay is in P4. Of course, Ciclay is currently third in the championship standings. People want to have a little bit something to say about that. If the track dries up pretty soon, Ben laps in, what does that do in terms of tire strategy, possibly for all these front runners?
So I think usually with the game, right, the race director usually enables like DRS.
Yep.
And the winner, surprisingly, always stops whenever like the top five have passed the pits. So it's going to be interesting because I think the people that are going to pull the trigger first would be Melo, Mfundo, Salpi, and Loveness.
Yeah.
Because the front runners would be late to act to the action. So yeah, it's going to be quite interesting. But Titus is flying on those intermediate. I think he can make up the time that he lost with the announcement of the DRS and having like dry weather.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm hoping for like a dry weather because it's really boring. I think T2 guys are really the billable drivers.
When it comes to drama and entertainment on the track, we're currently on board with here.
Because this.
Yes. Go ahead, Banglabi.
No, because I'm saying that currently we're just watching the track positions. There's no action. I see Tindo is trying to push Loveness, but Loveness is pulling away. So it's just a matter of watching the drivers have a good time.
Yes, would you look at that?
Oh no!
Oof! Josh wanted to have a little something to say is as far as Tindo is concerned, but doesn't quite pull it off. We see a 3-second time penalty for the wax there, I believe it was. Josh couldn't quite pull that off, but he's close enough to hope to really make a difference here. Look at the spray there coming from the back of Tindo's car, but the rain isn't so heavy that it's blocking Josh's view completely, so he can still see enough, and he'll be looking to get another bite at the cherry there at Tindo's car. Perhaps there. uyihandlisa kanjani imoto?
Super-Talks.
Sure.
Kuyabheda bafu, kuyabheda. Hey, ngoba labantu labo, I think bayidelile. Baneyinkinga emakhaya, so they had nothing to lose. Bayadrive nje. Ukuthi bayafa bazobona khona. Bekumendri. Sekadinefile, ujabulile la khona. So bayishaya le moto la babuza ukuthi wenzakala ngayo.
Hayi uMandre akatshayisanga.
Because if we have a look at
Sure. Yeah.
if we have a look at the speedometers, the guys are traveling like 300 kilometers per
Yes.
hour
Yes.
on a wet surface. It's really crazy.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane there. uMandre akatshayisanga bekafuna amagwinya kabantu. Ukhona indawo lapha eDipsloaf uthola igwinya encane. As we come back to Mfundo, currently P6, looking to take a bite out of Mello the Mello, less than half a second the gap between them. Loveness gets a move on Tindo. There we see that these two are currently fighting it out. The battle is actually quite tasty between these two. Let's go on board with Loveness. Multiple warnings, probably for track limits, but Loveness will want to get a little something. Josh has had an incident, it seems. They were falling down. Let's take a closer look at.
Tino recovered.
Oh yes, but there goes Selby again. Oh my word! Oh, Tindo is coming in, possibly to take care of maybe some damage that they might have accrued. As we watch this battle, Spyzozo. Oh! It's a huge crash! Spyzozo and Josh survives somehow, but Spyzozo sent it straight into the wall. Oh, that was a huge crash. Josh will look to keep this car on track as the full safety car comes out. Bangobi.
Yeah.
That was a massive crash. It could have been a case of, when you push too hard and you're fighting and then contact, but Spyzozo just took us straight into the wall. Josh lost a wing and we'll be looking to nurse that car all the way back. I lost my Wisconsin accent. Excuse me. Nurse that car all the way back to the pit lane. That was a huge crash, but with the safety car coming out, that'll bunch everybody back together at the front. Kid K saying, Titus.
Tyson?
Yes? Yes,
I think we need to call Michael Messi. So that we don't end this race under safety car, because at this rate, that's where we go. We need to call him and say, hey, we need one lap of racing.
Titus and Zotile took the opportunity to pit there. So conditions, of course. Oh, Mfundo has been disqualified from the session for ignoring yellow flag. Mfundo is out of the session. Disqualified Mfundo for ignoring the yellow flag there. Oh man. Oh, that is just super.
Tyson?
Yes.
I'm seeing some interesting action here. So people are putting on mediums. Titus sticked with the intermediate, and then Zotile went with the mediums. Same as Sihle. True, Indonesia. So I'm thinking, could this be last week's race where Zotile was picked to act on the inters? It's going to be so tricky.
Is this another master class roll of the dice from Zotile? And in this case from Sequay 2, they have gone onto the medium tires. Let us take a closer look here. One of three drivers, Josh, who had that major incident which took Spyzozo out of the race. Josh is currently also on those intermediate tires. Those are the three current drivers on intermediate tires. Now, Balobi, we're currently on lap 20. Can these go to the end of the race should things dry up?
Are you referring to the
Medium
medians?
runners, yes.
Yeah, they will go all the way up. So the medians really last long, like 20 laps. So
Yeah,
if it was the softs, I'd be a
probably
bit
not.
concerned, but with the medians, I'm quite confident that they will go all the way. But also, phew, it's going to be like a tricky decision. So the decision that Zotile took is going
Yes,
to cost him or benefit him 15 seconds.
yes,
Because if he was right with the decision, he won't have to pit, and Titus would have to pit. And
yeah,
then he'd gain like track position.
yeah,
So it's going to be interesting. And I see that he's struggling a lot with the wet surface on those mediums. So let's see how long it will take for the track to dry up. If it takes like maybe 2 laps
yep.
or 3 laps, Zotili is going to struggle. And then Tyson is going to pull the gap. Phew.
Yeah, Titus will look to take advantage there. The safety car is in this lap. You actually answered a question I was going to ask, is that how tricky it'll be in the beginning, because the track doesn't look fully dry yet, but how tricky it might be for
Mm.
Zotile, Ciclay, and Josh to kind of to try not to slip and slide on those slick tires, as Loveness is kind of backing everybody up. But Josh, all the way in P14, if things stay dry, he might beat Lucky as Loveness hits it and punches it. The safety car is gone. We are back racing. Titus was able to build a gap pretty much from the first couple of corners, but not that is not the case for Loveness as Titus inches closer and closer, just 6/10
Oh
between the
no.
top two here. We have someone who seems to be falling down the grid. It looks to be Nick. Oh,
Oh
Nick
no,
was in the pit
Zotilik's struggling.
there.
Oh,
Zotile on those mediums. Let's see. Of course, it was
he's
a
struggling.
huge gamble. A huge gamble by Zotile and Ciclay to still be on the slicks. What does it look like?
Oh
Oh, he's
no.
gone off and he drops further and further down the grid as Mello the Mello gets a 5 second
Oh
time
no.
penalty. We are under yellow flags pretty much for the whole grid here. We hope it's not the glitches that we've seen in recent races as we come on board here with Titus. So
Oh
Zotile
no.
sadly is slipping further and further down the grid. So as things stand, Ben Kobe, it was probably too early to go on the mediums.
It was too early. So now they're going to have a conference. The medium gang is going to have like a conference
Yeah,
someday. Because
yeah,
you can see that Zotile is number 10, CK is number 12,
yeah, yeah,
and the media. Oh no.
yeah. All
Oh
the way
no.
down
That
there.
was a
So
good gamble.
yes. We're
Phew.
currently under yellow flags throughout this pretty much all sectors. It could be a glitch, and it might be a case of drivers still carrying on to try and race, and then just kind of annul all of those time penalties, which will be racked up between now and the end of the race. Titus is just half a second from Loveness here. But Nobby, I'd like to know
Mm-hmm.
something.
Yeah.
So the intermediate tires are currently obviously taking advantage of everyone who gambled on the mediums. But if no safety car comes out for now in a couple of laps, and then eventually they have to pit, will the gamble still pay off, or will they have lost too much time and slipped too far back on the grid?
No, they lost too much time. They lost too much time. And the track doesn't seem to be drying up. So I don't think Zotile will be able to recover. But you can't write off Zotile. As you know, he's the new Tyson's. We have to say wait for Zotile. But I think the gamble didn't work in their favor. But yeah, because the Inters seem to be like the faster tire
Yeah.
on this track. So yeah.
Yeah, as Tindo gets a time penalty for multiple warnings. What a job Loveness is doing holding off Titus here with tires that are 20 laps older than those of the driver running in P2 currently at the moment. So doing a pretty good job. Theoretically, could you run these inters all the way to the end? If conditions stayed the way that they are?
Yeah, you can try, but you're going to drop off at a later stage. You
Yeah.
can try. I've done it before. But you can try. As you can see, that Loveness is still maintaining the gap between him and Titus
Yep.
because of the fact that his enters are a bit cooked compared to those of Titus. So Titus is also going to get some heat on those tires, and then yeah, subsequently overtake Loveness. But yeah, we'll see.
Yep.
Oh, the 86ers
Oh,
coming in.
would you look at that?
Let's have a look.
1:13.2, the current fastest time of this race. The time penalties are racking up. We could be having a glitch here with the F1 2021 game network, as we've seen in past races. So those might actually get annulled at the end of the race here. This is F1 Breakaway. What happened to Lunds? Asked Escalo and Lobo. Well, Lunds seemingly had a network issue. He was ghosted, and then he was falling further and further down the grid.
Oh no!
A
Oh
drive
no!
through.
Josh is gone.
Oh, Josh is
Josh
gone.
is gone.
We've lost amnesia. They took a chance, it seemed, on soft tires, and then they completely lost the car there. So that is Josh out of this race. We just saw a time penalty for one of the drivers for speeding under the safety car, or the virtual. Those penalties are racking up and up. We see DWAX as a drive-through penalty. Looking at all the penalties so far, it's Loveness on 3 seconds, the 86er, P3, also the 3-second time penalty. Mello, 5-second penalty. DWAX's drive-through penalty, probably for speeding on the safety car, the virtual safety car. And then we have Tindo, 6 seconds. Romeo, 8 seconds. Inati, 3 seconds. And Nick has a drive-through penalty. And it looked like it was definitely more than 3 seconds before that drive-through penalty. So, yeah. So it is pretty intense there. Position change probably from the start of the race. Would you look at that? Loveness. 18 places the difference from early on today. That is just an insane performance, or an insane set of circumstances that he took full advantage of here. Hasn't been the most eventful
And it's
race.
also important.
Yeah.
It's also important to note that Zotile went back to the Inters, so it
Yes.
clearly was a bad decision.
Yeah.
So let's see if Steve is going to go back to his Inters, because he's in the pitch right now. So yeah, that gamble really didn't pay off.
Yeah.
NgesiZulu bazothi bekadlala umChina only for him to get sucked in. So it really sucks. It didn't pay off.
Yeah. Lakobo was saying in the comments that Loveness has pretty much ran those tires and turned them into slicks, kind of like Lewis Hamilton did a couple of years ago. And I think Hamilton ended up winning the tires on what was slick, winning the race on what was slick tires there. So if Loveness somehow hangs on to a podium place here, that would be absolutely insane performance on pretty much no pit stop.
Let me have a look at the penalties and see where he's at.
Loveness currently 3-second time penalty.
3 seconds.
Yep.
So he may fall back to third, maybe.
Look at the fight back from Zotile. 112.9. So it's a fight back in anger. Zotile rolled the dice, thought the track would dry up well enough for those medium tires to work. It did not. Zotile conceded, went back to the pits for fresh set of intermediate tires like the rest of the grid is running, or like most of the grid is running, and set that fastest time. I want to take a look at the tires that everybody is running here, as we are looking at Esbuda, who pitted much early on in the race, but looks like they might be trying to take this on to the end. We're on lap 28 of 36, so not long to go until this race is over. Now, we lost Josh, we lost Spizozo, Man Ray, and Mfundo to to crashes, and of course, I think Mfundo was disqualified from the session, unfortunately. But we have 16 drivers still on the grid fighting it out for the best points haul that they could possibly get. Bongs, we've mentioned earlier in the Ferrari, Bongs has yet to score points, sitting currently in P5. But, of course, they are the penalties to take into account. 3-second penalty is not too bad. Hopefully they can hang on there and still get a good points haul as they pass S Buddha there. And Bongs, looked like he was going to go into the pits. So it's possibly a great day for Bongs.
Yeah. I'm having a look at CJ. I think he also lost connectivity because his car has been ghosted.
Yeah.
I'm really happy about Bongs playing in the top 5. That's really impressive, like I said earlier on. CJ must be tired. His back is probably sore, but up until tonight, that is about to change.
Yeah, Seaflay all the way down in P13. Could have been issues with the network, like you said, but not a great day for Seaflay. Of course, is so accustomed to be fighting at the front of the grid, and now has a fight on their hands to really make it into the points, where Zotile currently stands in P10. So there's a lot to fight for as far as getting points is concerned. Would you look at that? Nick is currently the only driver on medium tires. I don't know if that was deliberate but they've done just what? Well, these medium tires are 5 laps old, so that's quite surprising, Benkovi.
Yeah, I think he's hoping that the track dries up soon, in order for him to capitalize on people quitting. And 86 just took Titus, so he lost the place while trying to gun down. So
let's get back to that battle. The top 3, absolutely fantastic performance from the 86ers today, as is Loveness doing a fantastic job. Loveness has not stopped. Says Loveness in his internal monologue somewhere in the cockpit of that car. Loveness will keep these tires as souvenirs and as a memento for this possible race win if they manage to hang on for these final couple of laps. But Titus and the 86er are, their tires are just 9 laps old. So a great job by the 86er there to pull a fast one on Titus there. The Loveness concedes and comes into the pit for a fresh set of tires. So now it is between Titus and the 86er for the final 5 laps. Ooh, the 86er has to hold their nerve.
It's also interesting. It's also interesting to have a look at what Loveness is going to do. Oh, he pitted for the Inters. So
yes.
I thought maybe the track was drying up.
Yes.
Because we don't have visibility on the weather, but they do because they have like race engineers and we don't.
Yes.
And it's going to be interesting, but I think Titus is just going to maintain the gap and try to win with the penalty that the 86 has.
Yes, so that's
he's not going to push.
Titus won't panic. Yeah. And that's probably why Titus wasn't pushing too hard to pass even Loveness, because the gap was, the time penalty was there, and he didn't have to to worry too much about that. Yeah, 3-second time penalty.
But it's going to be like tricky because that strategy usually doesn't work. If you have a look at yesterday's race where Tsepo was actually tailing Tamayo. Tamayo got a time penalty from his last incident.
Yes.
And he thought to himself that let me just tail him to the end and try to take him. And that unfortunately didn't happen because of his network issues. So that's how he went down. So what if the same thing happens to Titus while hoping that
the 86er, yeah. So you can't take anything for granted. You just have to, really be you have to compete until the checkered flag. Basically, you can't take anything for granted.
Yeah, no, definitely. So if he does get an opportunity to take the 86er, he must definitely do that. But the 86er is one of the fastest on this track, so we'll see how that goes. So it should be interesting.
Yellow flags throughout all three sectors here again. Hopefully hopefully it's not a glitch, and hopefully we get rid of these yellow flags, or that that everything is deemed safe enough, to go fully racing again as soon as possible. But it has been quite the day for Bongs here. Bongs, who has never scored points since this this season began, and currently is looking very, very good for a points haul here. Mellow the Mellow had a great qualifying session, but was slipping all the way down at some point, but has worked their way back to P4 here, so they're looking good. As things stand, the 86er and Titus have changed positions. Oh, the 86er gets one back.
What happened there?
Well, it might have been.
I think it's the glitch.
Yeah, the yellow flag.
It's the glitch.
Yep. He was told it was. And Titus was probably told it was an illegal overtake. Yes, and had to give that position back to the 86er. So basically, what we've seen is, of course, Titus does have, of course, the pace to make sure that he crosses the line first in 3 laps time, soon to be 2 laps time. As things stand, the top 10, we have the 86er, followed by Titus in P2. We then have Bongs and Mellow in P3 and 4. Tindo is P5, Loveness 6th, Romeo 7th, Selby 8th, Esbuda 9th, and Zotile 10th. And the rest of the grid, Banlobi?
So we have D-Works, Sife, bad day for him, and then Inati, Nicholas, and surprisingly, he's still on the mediums. I don't know what he's wishing for because it's just 2 laps.
Yeah.
So again, if he does clip, it's going to be to his own detriment.
Yeah.
So I think he's just going to see it out, but that's really dangerous, as he can't be in it. And then Lungs.
All the way back.
He has been lapped 5 times.
Yeah, so
I think that's a network issue.
Yeah. We probably lost Lungs, and earlier on, I think we were also struggling with the Inati's connection, and we've also seen the likes of Seaplay slip down. But look at all these penalties; they will play a part at the end of the race in a couple of laps' time. Romeo has racked up a whopping 14 seconds in time penalties. Of course, some of those might be glitch related, but some other of those penalties could have been track limit incursions there. So, there's a lot to take into consideration towards the end of the race here. We are in the penultimate lap as Titus in race control for the final lap, essentially. And Titus is, of course, is right there on the 86er's tail. He can pretty much see the gearbox, as they say. If the 86er has a habit of sipping Gemmer like Titus does in the cockpit, well, Titus can sort of smell that. He's close enough. The 86er is looking to at least cross the finish line, the checkered flag first. Of course, there will be a 3-second time penalty there, but of course it would be great for the rest of the 86er season and for the confidence factor. What a great race it's been for the 86er and their teammate Romeo. Of course, there have been time penalties there. So it's been a good day. Titus, of course, proving his pedigree as a wet weather driver once again. P2 as things currently stand, and Bongs on 30-lap-old tires is about 6 seconds behind Titus there.
So it was also interesting. I thought people were going to pit so that we can benefit from the drier track, and they did not pit. So we are going to see some action. If you can have a look at the 86er and Titus.
Yes.
Titus has DRS, but I don't think he's going to take him. because in the league there's this motto that people live by, that beat the man on track. So I think that's what he's trying to do,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't think he's going to succeed because the 86er is killing.
Yeah, no need for unnecessary risks. That's probably what some of the drivers are thinking now, especially those that have worked their way into the points. What a weekend, so to speak, it's been for Titus. Qualified on pole position, maintain their position at the front there. The first person to cross the line will be the 86. So what a race that's been, but they have the time penalty. Titus wins the race. What a wet weather drive. Once again, Bonds crosses the finish line in third place, Mello in fourth. We have Tindo coming across. And of course, Romeo will have all those time penalties to take into account. So they might be knocked all the way down the grid here. And then we have Selby, who's about to come through here in P6, of course, thanks to those time penalties. Further down the grid, of course, we have Zotile, who took a gamble and went onto medium tires far earlier than was, I suppose, necessary. Finishes 9th, and Tindo is 10th. We then have DWAX, Ciclay all the way down in 12th, outside the points. We're so used to seeing Ciclay at the front of the grid, but not this time around. Inati finished the race, but only P13, or rather 14th, because Nicholas gets that 13th spot. And of course, Lungs, who has had issues, and it looks like they're still ghosting. Yeah, or yes, looks like they're still ghosted there. So what a race it's been, Ben Moby.
I think the driver of the day should go to Bonds. From the bottom of the grid to a pole.
A podium finish for Bonds. Podium finish will remind you
from
again.
0 points to 8.
That is incredible drive from Bongs. To all of you who've been tuned in today, we'd love to hear who is your driver of the day. This is the first points haul for Bongs, and what a haul it is. A podium place finish. Congratulations to Titus. Another masterful wet weather drive today. As we wait for the drivers to join us here in the commentary box, we will have Titus, the 86er, and Bongs, who I'm pretty sure is smiling from ear to ear right now. And, well... What a drive it has been from them. Wet weather. Big ups to Bongs, says Estelo, handling those tires, pushing them 32 laps. Ben Moby, the most that he's pushed there. Of course, Loveness early on was hoping to push their tires as far as they could, but they ended up pitting, finishing P5. Bongs, of course, with the most laps, 32. And then 21 laps was Romeo. 17 laps was Tindo, 16 Titus of the 86er, and the first podium finisher, in fact, the race winner, joins us in the commentary box. Titus, congratulations, you won the race. It's a familiar feeling, but how was it from your perspective?
Thank you. Hey, it was a tough race. It was a tough race. You know, the race being wet from start to finish, you need maximum focus. Maximum.
Yes.
And I did make a few minor mistakes, which I managed to pull away afterwards. So Zotil was on my tail the whole time, and he made a wrong choice during the pit, and I was hoping I'm right, and it turned out that I was actually right. So, yeah.
So Titus, tell me.
Yeah.
So Titus, tell me, what were you thinking when Zotile pitted for the
Yes.
I thought I was wrong, because in the past few races, he's been the one owning the masterclass of the pit strategy, you know?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I just went with my gut, and then just followed my instinct there, and it worked.
How frustrating or not was it? As you know, we had safety car after safety car. You would build in a little bit of a gap, and then the safety car would have to bunch everyone back up together. Was that frustrating for you, or not really?
Absolutely, yeah. It was frustrating, because I remember during the first safety car, I managed to pull away around 3.5 seconds. And then that was now I was brought back to the to the race by the safety car, and it was really frustrating, really frustrating. But yeah, I managed to pull through. And then another frustrating moment was when I was following Loveness for a couple of laps, and I knew his tires were getting worn out. He was gonna suffer a puncture at the end or something. But now he really delayed me. He really delayed. I think we were around 4 to 5 seconds ahead of 86er, but he ended up catching up. So I was actually driving slow, trying to accommodate Loveness so that I don't hit him. But I had to keep my cool, considering that he had a time penalty. So it was not worth the risk to try and overtake him. So
Yeah. I even saw with the first corner you lost your car, and that's where the 86 came on you. And tell me your thought process between you and the 86er, right? You had a 3 seconds time penalty.
Yeah.
Were you holding back because of that, or were you still pushing?
I was still pushing. At some stage I passed him, but that was when the lobby was glitched, and then there was yellow flags all around. So I had to give him back the position. Otherwise, I was going to incur a penalty as well. So I gave him the position, and then I kept pushing. So in the actual fact, I did pass him on track, but he was saved by the glitch.
Saved by the glitch. Saved. Are you on manual or automatic?
I'm on manual transmission now.
Manual transmission. And still, listen to that tire. Still fighting right at the front of the grid. What a drive that was. We're joined by
Thank you.
The 86er. Congratulations, finishing on the podium. First of all, how does it feel, and what was that like from your perspective?
First of all, thank you for the shout out. It was a very, very tough race. Keeping up with them was hard, but everything in my range and strategy, I think was too low and too short.
Yeah. And what was your thinking there towards the end as you were inching in and closing in on that battle between Titus and Loveness?
Honestly, I was just hoping that Loveness takes out Titus.
Wow. Wow.
And if you think about the between qualifying and you ending up on the podium, what were the crucial moments that landed you on that podium spot?
Yeah, so I think firstly qualifying first definitely helped.
Yep.
I think people like Josh had good pace. I think in the beginning, the key to the race was just keeping the car on track, minimizing mistakes. And I think Titus and I were able to do that.
Yep.
That's what helped. Being on the right side at the right time.
Yeah. And confidence for the rest of the season from this podium place, 86er? Yeah.
Well done.
I saw what the podium did go this year too, so I was like, I need a podium as well too.
Yeah.
Then I can get a podium.
Some standard shade there. We're joined also by our podium finisher. What a result this is for you, Bongs. Your first points of the season are on the podium. How's that for a race? Congratulations. We would love to hear how you are thinking, how you're feeling at this moment.
Man, it's mixed emotions. Like, there were so many times I thought I was going to crash out again, and I'm just so glad to be involved in this league. Finally, I get some points.
Yeah.
Started in P16. Crashed out early on. I think it was like third lap. Had to change my front wing.
Yeah.
And then from that point on, it was just trying to keep a smooth race, just making sure I finish and the race just started unfolding and coming towards us. A few people had a few accidents ahead of us, and I had my race engineer Jeff. Shout out to Jeff. He kept me calm throughout, and he just made sure that I just keep focused, and that led to today's podium.
Bongs, that was absolutely phenomenal. When you find yourself in 16th place and you think about everything that happened between that and you landing up on the podium, what were the crucial kind of moments or things happening ahead of you maybe that you think were the crucial results for you ending up on the podium?
I think one of the crucial things was that I pitted early on. Of course, I had to change my front wing.
Yep.
And I kept those tires from lap 5.
Yes.
All the way to lap 4 until the end of the race. So they were 32 laps old by the time I crossed the checkered flag, and I think it was just having a consistent race. It's very rare for me, so I'm very glad I could pull one out today, especially because my teammates had a stinker. Pitted for the mediums. But again, that's down to his race engineer, so we'll just have to talk about that as a team after the race. And hopefully some great teamwork from here throughout the rest of the season. Bankobi, any final questions you want to add on?
I just want to say congrats to Bongs, because you're one person that I was rooting for. As I did believe that maybe Cygnus was for him carrying the team. But yeah, well done on your podium finish. Thoroughly deserved.
Shout out, thank you so much.
Thoroughly deserved. A rainy race, but an interesting one nonetheless. Some interesting finishes here, as you see on your screen, how things have panned out here. Titus, the 86er, and Bongs landing up on the podium. This has been Breakaway F1 live from Austria. It has been beautiful. We will see the Tier 1 drivers back on the track on Tuesday, 7:30. Thank you all for joining us here today. From myself, Bob O'Connor, and Bankobi, it is thank you and good night.
Good night.
Shut up, Bankobi.
Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Good night.